Hi everybody. I wanted to do a combined video here. I got a few records in the mail from Dan in Canada. We did a record swap. So a few days ago he showed what I sent him, and I'll go ahead and show you what I got from him today. And then I also want to do a really quick thread as well, so I'll just do them both in one video. So let's get into the records I got from Dan. The first one is the Grateful Dead. Oxamoxo, I believe how you pronounce that. It's their third record from about 68, maybe it was 69. In fact, I think it was recorded in 68, put out in 69. I listened to the first half, and I really liked it a lot. I wasn't that familiar other than what I've previewed online. A little note of trivia that I haven't looked into enough to absolutely confirm, but I know that as the story goes, that the back cover has a picture of, I guess it's some of the band members, I assume, and then it's sort of like the hippie kind of picture there with the kids and everything. And the trivia is that one of the kids is supposed to be Courtney Love. I'm kind of thinking maybe it's this girl here. Kind of looks a little bit like her. I guess Courtney Love's father was an off-again, on-again manager for the Dead at the time. And I've seen debate as to whether or not she's in this picture, but I remember seeing a VH1 documentary on her. I think it was VH1, and they included that in the documentary, so I would think that their research team would do it correctly. But anyway, any of you that are a little bit more familiar with the specifics of the Dead can maybe comment and say whether or not she was really on the back cover. Not that that really matters that much, but anyway, so far I'm really happy with that record. Next, we have Billy Bragg record. I was only a little bit familiar with his work outside of what he did with Wilco on the Woody Guthrie records, and I liked what he did with Wilco. So this was my first record from him on his own, and this is from 1986. It's Talking with the Taxman About Poetry. And I think Dan had mentioned in the video when he showed some of these that he was willing to trade. This one's on the political side, and Billy Bragg tends to be political. I don't know how often he is in all of his records or a bunch of his records, but I know that he's a folk singer, and most folk singers sort of tend to be on the political side. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe not most, but everybody knows the tendency in the folk scene to be political. Anyway. I listened to this whole record once already today, and I liked it a lot. Next, we have a Tom Petty record, Hard Times. Oh, I'm sorry, Hard Promises, Hard Times. I think the only single off this, and it's the one that most people would know, is The Waiting. I don't know if anything else was released off of this, so it wasn't necessarily I don't know if it was one of his bigger sellers. But I like Tom Petty, and I wanted to start picking up some of his records. It sounds excellent. It's one of the half-speed masters, and it sounds great. But I have to say, out of all the ones I've gotten from Dan, this Bowie record, I don't know. This is sort of, I guess, what vinyl is sometimes. There's always this debate, whether CDs or records sound better, and frankly, I'm kind of tired about about the debate. I don't really care that much. I just know what I like to hear, and sometimes CDs sound better, and sometimes the records sound better. That's not the main thrust of why I collect records. Back to this Ziggy Stardust release, it just seemed like, I don't know if there's I hear these stories about hot stampers, and if you're not familiar, there's supposed to be certain stampers that apparently make, I don't know the specifics as to why, but that they're referred to as hot stampers, and it means that certain records that are pressed on them, I guess, sound better than other pressings. You can correct me if I'm off track there or not. Anyway, I don't know if that's true or not, but listening to this record on my turntable, it sounded hot. I mean, it sounded great, way better than what the CD I had. I don't have anymore. But I had like an early CD issue. I'm sure it was one of the original 80s issues of Ziggy Stardust on CD, and this just blows it out of the water. It just sounds amazing. I don't know, Dan, you can maybe comment and tell me if you've noticed playing this, if you even happen to play this on your record player, but I turned it up really loud and it rocked. It sounds really great. On the last one here was actually kind of the one I was maybe most intrigued to get, because this is another one I had on CD and it sold off a few years ago and just kind of burned it to my iTunes. And I find that the stuff that I burned to my iTunes I never really listened to, so I'm glad I picked this up on LP. And it's a double LP 10th anniversary issue of The Moon in Antarctica, and I think I had one other CD by Modest Mouse, but this is really my main exposure to them, and I really like this one a lot, so I was happy to be able to get this. So Dan, I just want to thank you. It was a really nice transaction, and I'm glad that I hope that you liked what I sent you. So for the second part of this video, I wanted to do a really simple thread. Really, it's a two-part question, but they're not related. It's just two questions really, and they're pretty simple. The first one is really the thread question, which is we hear a lot about guilty pleasures, and I've found as I've gotten older that I've gotten tired of referring. I mean, even though I catch myself saying guilty pleasure a lot, I've gotten tired of using the term guilty pleasure, because I feel like you should never feel guilty for getting pleasure out of something you listen to. So I guess it's sort of inevitable that you feel it a little bit, just because it's sort of a societal pressure thing that you feel that there's certain things you shouldn't like. But anyway, the reason why long story short, the question I have is I'd like to see releases or LPs that you have that should be a guilty pleasure, but you defiantly think that no, you're not. You don't feel guilty at all about liking it. That it's frankly a really good release, and there's nothing to feel guilty about. And I guess I mean that mostly in an artistic sense. That maybe there's this air about that record or that band that it's not cool to like, but you know, you really think that it's just an unjust tag on the release or the band. So it's a little bit of a twist on the guilty pleasures thing, because I think that's been done before, where people show their guilty pleasure records. But I want to see what you think you like that maybe people would not like, and you sort of defiantly say, hey, this is something that I'm proud of liking. So I'll go ahead and answer that in a different video. My second question is it's not very thready as far as the question really, but I'd kind of like to know, I'd like people to show what speakers they use. I'm not really in the market just yet, but I'm kind of putting feelers out for what I want to do with speakers. I think speakers are going to be my next upgrade, and it's probably going to be months down the road, but I have bookshelf speakers and Klipsch B3, I think they're called, and they do the job pretty well, but I eventually want to get floor standing speakers, so when I move out of this little room with my system, I want to be able to fill a room, and I think that that's probably going to, you know, I know that there are a lot of really nice bookshelf speakers, but I've kind of got a soft spot for the bigger floor standing speakers. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but so the second question is, if you could just, it's not even really a question, I guess, just tell me what your speakers are, and I guess tell me if you're happy with them, and if you're not happy, what you're looking for in a speaker, in a future speaker setup, if you're thinking about getting a new one. Anyway, thanks, and I'll see you next time.